Good morning, everyone. I'm Harita, a guest faculty in the Department of English, Pondicherry University.
I'm Geetu, Research Scholar from Department of English.
It is our privilege to welcome you to this two-day international seminar on literature as narrative, the politics of flesh and spirit. Hosted by the Department of English, Pondicherry University, this gathering brings together scholars, researchers, and students to interrogate one of literature's most enduring tensions, the contested space between the corporeal and the spiritual.
The body and the spirit have never been neutral territories. They have been sites of conquest, control, and contestation, where power inscribes itself, where identities are forged and suppressed, and where resistance finds its most intimate expression. Literature, in this sense, becomes the battleground where flesh speaks against its silencing and spirit refuses its prescribed boundaries. The seminar invites you to engage deeply, think boldly, and contribute to a discourse of flesh and spirit that affirms literature's transformative potential. To officially open our hearts and minds to this scholarly journey, I request Professor Binu Zakaria, Professor and Head of the Department of English, Pondicherry University, to deliver the welcome address. With a distinguished career spanning 25 years in academia, he brings a wealth of expertise in English literature, communication skills, and comparative literature. Apart being the head of the department, he has balanced his visionary leadership with vital administrative roles, serving as the coordinator for PG diploma programs and as a liaison officer for persons with disability. Now, I request him to deliver the welcome address.
Esteemed Director of Studies, Professor K. Tarnikarsu, a towering stalwart of our department and the former Director of Culture, our very own Professor Clement S. Lutz, respected Dean, School of Humanities, Professor G. Vasanti, distinguished keynote speaker, the Director, Center for International Affairs and Diaspora Studies, and Dean, Faculty of Indian and Other Languages at MS University, Tirunelveli, Professor S. Prabhakar, respected Principal, Mannar Tirumale Naikar College, Dr. A. Ramasubbaiah, all the illustrious speakers who are here today, Professor Guruhari Behra, Department of English and Modern European Languages, Deen Dayal Upadhyay, Gorakhpur University, Uttar Pradesh, Professor Satyaraj Venkateshan, Professor of English at NIT Trichy, Dr. Bhupati, a distinguished alumnus of our department and Assistant Professor at the Department of English Studies, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Faculty Coordinator of the Research and Cultural Forum, and my colleague, Professor Harpreet Kaur Vora, my good friend and the dynamic organizing secretary of the seminar, Professor T. Marks, eminent chairpersons of the different seminar sessions, esteemed deans, HODs, and respected faculty members from the Department of English and other departments, honorable delegates, media personnel, technical staff, research scholars, dear students and well-wishers. It is my great privilege and pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to the two-day international seminar on literature as narrative, the politics of flesh and spirit. Your presence here today brings together a community of teachers, scholars, and thinkers, and it is truly heartening to see such an engaged gathering assembled to reflect on a theme that is both intellectually rich and deeply relevant to our contemporary moment. This seminar emerges from the recognition that literature is never merely aesthetic expression. It is a powerful narrative practice through which societies interpret and reimagine human existence. Across cultures and historical moments, literary narratives have grappled with the tension between the flesh and the spirit, the material and the metaphysical. While these have often been framed as opposing forces, contemporary literary scholarship reminds us that this binary is neither stable nor neutral. It is but deeply shaped by structures of power, ideology, and identity. The present seminar seeks to explore this complex terrain by examining how literature negotiates the interplay between corporeal existence and spiritual aspiration. Representations of the body and spirit in literature frequently become sites where politics, culture, and ethics intersect. They raise questions related to power, agency, resistance, and liberation. Over the next 2 days, this seminar will examine how literary narratives represent the body-spirit dialectic across diverse cultural and historical contexts. Particular attention will be given to how marginalized communities mobilize narratives of embodiment and spirituality as forms of resistance. Dalit writing reveals how caste politics inscribe themselves upon bodies and spiritual hierarchies. Disability narratives challenge assumptions about bodily normalcy. Queer literature reimagines embodiment and opens pathways to alternate spiritualities. And post-colonial and indigenous narratives remind us that colonial power often operated through the regulation of bodies, identities, and indigenous cosmologies. Through these perspectives, this seminar will attempt to engage with key intellectual concerns such as embodiment and power, literature as moral critique, and identity at the intersection of competing ideologies. It will also focus on contemporary theoretical frameworks that question traditional binaries and invite us to reconsider notions of authenticity, subjectivity, and selfhood. At this juncture, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speakers and delegates who have traveled from different institutions and regions to be part of this seminar. Your presence enriches this academic gathering and transforms it into a truly diverse intellectual forum. I also extend my appreciation to the university administration for their encouragement and support, and to the organizing committee, faculty members, and to all student and scholar volunteers whose dedicated efforts have made this event possible. By bringing together intellectuals from different institutions and disciplines, this seminar aims to create a vibrant space for dialogue and critical reflection. We hope that the discussions over the next 2 days will deepen our understanding of how literature functions as political discourse, and thereby illuminating the complex relationship between embodiment, spirituality, power, and resistance. Let us remember that seminars such as this are not merely formal academic exercises. They are spaces of dialogue, curiosity, and collaborative thinking. They allow us to question inherited assumptions, to listen to diverse perspectives, and to rediscover the transformative power of literature. As we initiate the proceedings of this seminar today, may the conversations that unfold here inspire new insights, meaningful collaborations, and a renewed appreciation of literature's capacity to interrogate the deepest questions of human existence. With these words, I warmly welcome all of you once again to this 2-day international seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the warm and engaging welcome. Now, I invite Dr. T. Marks, the organizing secretary of the seminar, to deliver the theme address.
Respected Director, Professor K. Tarnikarasu, our brother and former Director, Culture and Cultural Relations, Professor Clement S. Luth, my good friend and the keynote speaker, Professor S. Prabhakar, Professor G. Vasanthi, our Dean, School of Humanities, my bosom friend and principal, Mannar Thirumalai Naikar College, Professor Ramasubbraya, whom we all fondly call Mannar Subbu, Professor Binu Zakaria, the head of the Department of English, and Professor Harpreet Kaur Vora, the coordinator of Research and Cultural Forum of our department. Other invited speakers, Professor Gohari Behra, Professor Satyaraj Venkatesan, Professor Bhupati from Periyar University, Father Jonas, Dr. Dayalakrishnan, Dr. Palanisamy, Dr. Selvaraj, Dr. Dravidamani, Dr. Kabilar, Dr. Kannadasan, and other guests, I welcome you all. And we all gather here to discuss a topic which is at once very traditional but very urgently contemporary as well. Because we could see visuals of small kids who didn't even experience this world, bundled, packaged with dismembered bodies lying on the floor to be buried. Hundreds and hundreds of bodies. So it is high time that we should discuss the dynamics and the politics of body itself. And when we drafted this, the title of the seminar, the ready victim for us, usually when we discuss things with scholars, at least our ready victim happens to be T.S. Eliot. So we borrowed a phrase from T.S. Eliot, the body that suffers and the mind that creates. We rephrased it into the body that suffers, the flesh that suffers, and the spirit that endures. The politics of body and spirit. The politics, the history, the story of the politics of flesh and blood, or the very story of flesh and blood. It is in its earliest forms, is a story of mutual antagonism. It's a story of humiliation. It's a story of subjugation. It's a story of oppression. It's a story of dismemberment of human body. So I borrow Michel Foucault's the archaeology of disciplining human bodies. It carries us the politics of pain, where she says pain is the most private experience of human beings because it resists language. When I see somebody being bombed, a body being bombed and scattered to pieces, that body cannot speak through language. So it resists language. Then how else can we relate that experience to that experience, or how else we can experience that person's agony and pain? That's the whole question that we are going to address today. So it's all the greatest religious and philosophical traditions, all the epistemological systems propagated one thing, that abhor the flesh. So flesh is always considered something very impure, something that is very temporary, something that is ugly, something that is dirty. So it's the abhorring flesh is the very prerequisite for your spiritual ascension. So that's why people follow fasting and subjugating one's own body to all kinds of torture mechanisms. So all this, it's fine. It's very fine as long as it restricts itself to all these religious paradigms and realms. But when the whole body of a human being, the flesh of a human being becomes visible to another, then it enters the political realm. Because the flesh is not always merely a flesh. It's a text that's written about, it's written upon and read and sometimes celebrated, sometimes disciplined, sometimes punished. So it's the whole history of how human body is converted into a text and how that text is read, reread, constructed and deconstructed is the politics of flesh and spirit. So we all gather here to discuss this politics of flesh and blood. So when this religious realm, from this religious realm, when the politics of flesh and spirit enters the sociological, enters the political arena, then it becomes a big problem. Because as long as religions permit all kinds of, piercing your tongue or, hanging in a wheel with all kinds of, weapons, and human bodies hanging in a wheel that is hanging. So it's all kinds of whipping yourself as a kind of self-punishment. All these things are acceptable as long as it is restricted to a religious realm. But this is extended to the sovereign. The state, the power, the oppressor, the white master. In any case, the oppressor starts using this particular thing, the subjugation of human body, as a method of preventing any form of resistance among the marginalized people. So the body, when it becomes the other body, like the body of a woman, the body of a child, the body of a refugee, the body of a disabled person, the body of a Dalit, the body of a tribe, the body of somebody who is in the margins, the borders, all these bodies are converted into, filthy bodies, converted into dirt. So this politics is what we are going to discuss in these 2 days. And we have eminent speakers and specialists in the field. We have Professor Gurhari Behra, who is here with us from Gorakhpur to open the 2-day conversation. We have the keynote speaker, who is an expert in the politics of flesh and spirit. Professor Prabhakar is here with us. We have Professor Satyaraj Venkatesan, who is an expert in critical disability studies and medical humanities. I think he'll discuss medical humanities tomorrow. We have Professor Bhupati, one of our proud alumni of our own department. He is here with us to discuss critical disability studies and refugee studies. So we have Ms. Kalki, the transgender rights activist, who is also joining us tomorrow. So I hope all these sessions will be really enriching and meaningful for our thought, for our experience, academic and human experience. So I welcome you all once again on behalf of the Research and Cultural Forum and on behalf of the head of the department, Dr. Binu Sakaria, and on my personal behalf. I wish you a very meaningful and pleasant experience in these 2-day conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Marx, for that illuminating exposition of the theme. It's now my honor to invite Professor G. Vasanthi, Dean of the School of Humanities, to the podium to deliver the presidential address.
Distinguished guests, learned colleagues, dear scholars and students, and friends of literature. Good morning to everyone, one and all. It is with a deep sense of privilege and intellectual pleasure that I stand here to give my presidential address in this inaugural session. The Research and Cultural Forum of the Department of English, Pondicherry University, has once again demonstrated its commitment to fostering critical inquiry by convening a gathering that promises to be rigorous as it is timely. The theme of this seminar, the politics of flesh and spirit, is in my view one of the most courageous and candid framings that contemporary literary studies could offer. It refuses the comfortable abstraction that has sometimes sheltered the humanities from the urgencies of the world. It insists that literature is not a retreat from life, but an entry into its most contested terrain. Flesh speaks of the body, that is, from life, but an entry into its flesh speaks of the body, then it's marked, labeled, bruised, and erased. Spirit speaks of the consciousness that endures, resists, reimagines, and rises. Between the two lies the whole archive of human injustice and the whole possibility of human dignity. We live in a world where the body continues to be a site of politics, where skin color, gender, caste, religion, and ethnicity determine whether one lives in freedom or fear. Literature in its many forms and traditions has always been acutely aware of this truth. From the testimonial voices of the enslaved to the lyric rebellion of the post-colonial poets, from Dalit autobiographies to queer narratives that rewrite the grammar of belonging, literature has dared to name what power would prefer unnamed. As Dean of the School of Humanities, I believe that seminars such as this are not participated to the university, not peripheral to this university mission, but they are centered to it. The humanities exist to ask the question that numbers cannot answer and that technologies cannot resolve. What does it mean to be human? Who is included in that meaning and who is excluded? How do narratives shape the world and how must the world reshape its narratives? These are not merely academic questioning, they are moral and civic necessities. I warmly congratulate Professor Marx, the organizing secretary of this international seminar, and also the head of the department, Dr. Binu Zakaria, and other faculty members and the dear scholars and students and the volunteers who have taken much interest and initiative to organize this wonderful seminar. I extend a special welcome to our distinguished keynote speaker and all the invited scholars who have journeyed here to enrich our conversations. I urge every participant to engage with courage, generosity, and intellectual honesty. Let the next 2 days remain as why literature matters, not as ornament, but so witness not as escape, but as reckoning. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for the encouraging words. Now it is time to honor our esteemed guests. I invite Dr. Binu Zakaria, Professor and Head, Department of English, Pondicherry University, to honor Professor Tarnikarasu, Director of Studies, Educational Innovations and Rural Reconstruction, Pondicherry University, with our famous Elijah garland and a memento. We are now at one of the most exciting segments of this session, the release of the novel Putru, the first of its kind illness narrative in Tamil, written by one of the loudest and most impactful voices in Tamil contemporary literature, MAM. I invite Professor Clemendus Luth to release the book and Professor Ramasubbayya to receive the copy.
all the dignitaries on the stage, good morning to you all. Really, I am very only accidents determine things. Today, I didn't think of coming here, but morning, I thought of coming, but it was a little delayed. But on the right time, I came down here. That is what this Dr. Clement was honored, my first PhD scholar in the department. Therefore, I am very happy about it and to have participated in this. And he deserves it. A very conscientious, systematic teacher. Beyond that, I don't want to say anything. He is a nice gentleman and, happy about it. And whenever I come here, I get honored, therefore I get a little, not a fussy, a little, lazy. This is too much on the part because the department has honored me like anything. And again getting honored. Today, I have never expected this photo and all that. Already I am a photo, to be photoed. Therefore, I should thank Dr. Marx and Vinu Sakaria and his colleagues, Dr. Tanikaras and all, Dr. Vasanthi and others, I don't know their names. And my friends are there, Princy from Madurai and my friend, Prabhakaran from Madurai, and all. I am very happy. I don't want to detain you from them. Thank you. Thank you all.
Respected Director, Professor K. Tarnikaras sir, Professor G. Vasanthi Madam, Dean, School of Humanities, Dr. Binu, Head of the Department of English, Dr. Marx, Dean and Organizing Secretary of the seminar, Dr. A. Ramasubbiya, Principal, Tirumalai Nayakar College, Professor S. Prabhakaran, Director and Dean, Manonmaniyam Sundaranari University, Professor Harpreet, my own teacher and guide, Professor N. Natarajan, invited speakers, faculty and friends. I am really very happy to be a part of this wonderful seminar. And this is what I thought. Till now, I never thought that I will be honored in this way today. Because everything, Marx kept it as a suspense. And he told me that I will be having one surprise gift. But he didn't tell me that this is going to be such a big one. And I do not know how to thank him for selecting me to this high honor. And it is really a great privilege. I am very happy over it. And as I stand here now, there is a big difference because now I am participating in this seminar not as an inmate of the department, but as an outsider. And only as an outsider, when I stand up and look at the department, I am able to see its greatness. But as long as I am a part of the department, I am not able to see it. And now I am away. And from there I look at the department and I am really very happy to say that the department is growing up like anything. And in the Spectator, especially when Addison started the Spectator, he says that his Spectator should not be like a cracker bursting out and after that there will be silence all over. But he wants that to be a long-lasting fire to illuminate the minds of the individuals. Or to put it in simple terms, I can say, if you take the image of Diwali, he doesn't want that to be a mere cracker, but he wants that to be a flower pot. Because the flower pot, when you ignite it, it starts with a flower. And then it rises up like anything, and it reaches the great height. And our department is like that. And I am very proud to say that the activities that are happening in the department, nowhere else you can see. And you can't compare our department with other departments too, because from the start of a very small newsletter called Coral, it has got a very voluminous table book. And there, in that voluminous work, we are able to see all the things that has been done in our department and all the activities that went on. And again, the research club meetings, we started at the inception of the department by the founder HOD, is still continuing. And I can trace out nearly 32 or 33 years of my experience with this forum. And many of the teachers who have been trained from our department, they proudly say it is because of this research forum that they are able to face their interviews in a very, very challenging manner. Because our department makes them to understand what is life, what is an academic atmosphere, how to face interviews, and how to argue. And all these things come because of the training that we are giving them. And as far as the seminar is concerned, we have selected a very beautiful and a very challenging title, Literature as Narrative, the Politics of Flesh and Spirit. And especially the second part, the flesh and the spirit, when I was reading it, I was thinking about a biblical, story. It happened in the life of Jesus Christ when he went along with the 3 disciples to pray. This is just a day before his crucifixion. And when he went along with the disciples, he just wanted the 3 disciples to pray for him. And after that, he went to a secluded place and started praying. But when he returned again to see whether the disciples are praying or not, to his surprise, he found them sleeping. And again he asked them to pray. Then he left the place and went to that isolated spot to pray again. But when he returned back, he was not able to see the disciples praying, but they were in deep slumber. And in fact, there is a line added to it, they are not able to open their eyes because it has been overpowered with sleep. Naturally, they have to close it. No other go. Third time also, he tells the same thing, but third time also, he sees them not praying but sleeping. It was at this juncture, Jesus says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. A very, very famous quotation in the Bible. And sometimes our students, they go with the determination that they should wake up very early in the morning and prepare for their examination, but only on that particular day, they wake up even very late. Because the flesh is, will not obey the command of the Spirit. And again, if you take up Murder in the Cathedral, the worst drama by the very famous poet T.S. Eliot, you find that the last temptation of Thomas Becket, all the other temptations he is able to resist, but the last temptation is just a kind of a battle between the flesh and the spirit. And that is the longing for some kind of glory, the longing for some kind of power even after death. See, that is the human weakness. The flesh craves for such glory even after death, because a martyr should not think about the glory after death. It will happen, that's all. He is ready to sacrifice his blood for the sake of the church or for the sake of the nation, and he should not be worried about any other thing. But here, Becket commits a very, very sin. The sin is that he thinks about what will happen after his death when he is murdered in the church. People will hail him to the skies. They will build an altar and keep him over there, and he will be worshipped like God. And this is what he wants. That is why T.S. Eliot warns us by saying, the last temptation is the greatest treason, to do the right thing for the wrong reason. You see the powerful lines of T.S. Eliot. We are doing the right thing, okay, but it is for the wrong reason that we are doing it. And there is another novel, The Flesh and the Spirit, a novel based on the life of Saint Augustine. And Augustine, as you all know, he is not actually a saint in the beginning, and he is not even a bachelor. And he had, a life which is not at all straight. And he had illegal relationship with other women. He was simply branded as a drunkard and, a womanizer. And even before his becoming a priest, he had 2 sons. But in spite of that, he is now made as a saint and we worship him. It is because he is able to overcome the longing of the flesh. And it is all because of his mother Monica that he has been trained to become a saint. And similarly in Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment also, you can see how a man claims that killing is his right. And there is nothing wrong in killing. He has to do it in order to streamline the proper functioning of the world. But later he regrets because of his conscience. And he is not getting any other kind of a punishment, but his conscience pricks him and kills him. So, when you go into literature, you will be able to see many such things. And this is supposed to be the richest area of research. And I am very happy that our department has taken it up, so that it is going to be a very influential and a very good research. And it is actually, the time is very apt for taking up this seminar. And I congratulate Binu, my good friend and head of the Department of English, and T. Marks. And I want to say something about T. Marks, and I always do that. Whenever you get into our department, there is a trademark in every nook and corner. And I need not tell you what is that trademark, TM. That itself is the trademark. Whether he is doing a very small thing, a portrait, or whether he is indulging in any kind of a small gardening work, there will be utmost perfection. This I admired very much. He has converted a small garden there in the department, you can see that. And there is also a very big banner listing all the distinguished visitors who has come to the department. Nobody can take this kind of initiative, I am telling you. Taking everything personally and doing it in such a way that people would appreciate in the future. And that is why whenever I use this TM, I think many times whenever there is a seminar that I will be expanding this TM in so many funny ways. And now I have totally exhausted how to expand it. Now therefore, yesterday, when I was thinking over it, I sought the help of artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, as usual, has given me only 3 words. TM stands for what? This is what I asked. Trademark, tomorrow, text message. Okay, now I am not able to do anything with these 3 words. Again I sought the help of artificial intelligence and asked artificial intelligence to put it in a sentence using all the 3 words. Immediately a sentence came, and that seems to be quite relevant here in the present context. I will send you a text message tomorrow to celebrate how your brilliant new trademark is already becoming a symbol of excellence in Pondicherry University. I think that is very, very apt, and it has got its own meaning. So thank you very much, Mark, for honoring me and for taking this much of interest in my welfare. And I thank all the faculty for giving me this honor, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious and thoughtful words. Now, I invite Dr. A. Ramasubaya for the felicitation.
Dignitaries on the dais and all the enlightened gatherings assembled here. See, when the compare, when she invited all the dignitaries to come to the stage, I felt little embarrassed because I'm not one of the dignitaries. I've been here for the last 15 years. I was sitting in the front row, and last time I came here to offer felicitations, and this time I'm given an honor to sit on the stage. Thank you, Dr. Markson, for the love and affection that you are showing it to me. Probably this honor is not to an individual. Probably this honor is to the institution. Probably all the university people who are sitting here, probably the committee may have decided there must be some person to represent an institution. Probably a principal would have been on the stage, so that I take it as an honor, not to the individual, and I take it as an honor to the institution and to the principals, because many scholars have come from different institutions. In that sense, I take it to honor and thank the Markson and all the committee members. See, all dignitaries, the eminent speakers are here, and it is very difficult to speak in front of them. It is very difficult to warm into their hearts. But see there, I'm not speaking from here. I'm speaking to you from my heart. And a lot of emotions are there. Probably I would have told you to the participants who attended the conference last time. I said something, the same thing that I would like to share here, that there is a famous phrase that is, all roads lead to Rome. So whenever there is a conference organized by the Department of English in Pondicherry University, all the roads in the country lead to Pondicherry. So that's true, very true. And when I reached here by 8:30 yesterday night, and out of inquisitiveness I asked him, and sometimes let me be bilingual, please allow me, and please excuse me. Even Chinua Achebe, used to, the Igbo languages in his works. When he in one of the interviews, he said, only then you would understand the real emotions of the people. So I use here and there, I use my language. Similarly, I use, here and there, let me use, Tamil, please bear with me. I asked him, when we reached here by 8:30, I asked him, out of inquisitiveness, I asked him that, what is how many participants? He said, it is the first time, and he never compromises. It's the first time. It was a surprise to all the participants, all the friends of him. That first time he opened online, this by hybrid. Hybrid, he never likes it. And 300 plus participants are attending through online. 300 participants are present here, 600. And PG study centers around 100 plus. And their own students around 200. Around 900 people are attending this conference. It is highly, it is, even in your dream, it is unimaginable. Even in your dream, it is unimaginable. This can happen only in Pondicherry. Only in Pondicherry. And see there, all the students that were standing here, and then he asked all the students, he signaled all the students wait outside. The house is full. This cannot happen anywhere. 900 students participating in the conference. And probably this would have been my 10th or 11th or 12th conference being organized in the college. And as I told you that all the roads are, lead to Pondicherry University. Not only the roads, all the flights, connect Pondicherry. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, even from Northeast Hill University or from one of the universities from Mumbai, Maharashtra, all the people, from different work, from different institutions, they fly and present papers, which you never imagine in any institution, any central university, and it is possible only in this university, as Dr. Professor Clements has said. I used to say trademark. Marx is trademark. I have something for him, and let me tell you at the end of my felicitation. And then one more thing that I want to tell you, that all the universities in the state, all the institutions in the state, the enrollment of students for literature is going down. It's going down. See, there we are fighting for our survival. That would be a principal, a person who has put in 2.5 decades of experience from literature. I have to represent the realities of the state universities and the institutions across the state. We are all fighting for our survival. But see, there a revival is happening in Pondicherry. And it is not revival, it is a carnival is taking Pondicherry and being organized by Dr. Marx. Only he can do it. And then the next thing that I want to tell you that is very, very particular about inaugurating, the session on time. 9:30 assembled. 500 plus audience, 500, 600 audience. Here, all there are, at 9:35, 9:40 we have started. So this can happen only in Pondicherry. And I told you last time, even scholars from our college, PhD scholars, the JRF scholars, they have come here from our college. And that I told you that all roads lead to Pondicherry. And yesterday, when we started, we got calls. Friends, we connected to each other. First call that I spoke to Prabharanan, Anne, Kalimtingla. Kalimtanda, Ira, Kalimta. He started 7:15 from Nagarkovil, from Kanyakumari, and reached here by 4:15 this morning. And then I called Kabilar, and then Selvaraj, Dayalan, and then Bose. Gang of people. He's armed with a gang of people. We are all coming. See, there are 25 to 50 students from Madurai Kamaraj University. They have come here to witness this conference. All we have come as if we are coming to Professor Narajan has said, or Clements has said, as if there is a function in Marx and Engels' house. On Wheatlor Thirula Mary, we are all coming to honor him. Because this kind of carnival, this kind of conference, you can never imagine even in your wild dreams. It is like, that's what I asked my students from our university and our college. It is like regeneration. Mudumalaiki Yana Poramari, all literature students, you come here, you will have regeneration in Pondicherry. So then, see there, this happens. I thank Professor Clement and Binusa, standing close to him as pillars of the department, and also all the colleagues in the department stand by his side. And I told him, I asked him that, he said, this may be 16th or 17th conference, organized by Professor Marx. It's not an easy thing. See, when we circulate brochures, we get only 100, 120. Even if it is 200, that's a huge strength. There was a conference that took place last week in one of the reputed institutes in Madurai, and it was reflected in Hindu Connect. Only 50 to 70 people attended, participants of the conference, and it is said it's a grand success. Then what would be how do you call it? When you have 900 plus participants, that's good. Then, as Dr. Professor Clemens has said, very meticulous in choosing the title and the brochures. See that, the spirit and flesh and politics of spirit and flesh, okay, new narratives. Probably you would have also experienced when you received this invitation. I happened to see that 3 or 4 times. What is this? Where are the hands of the image? Then probably he would have been influenced by the recently hit movie Bison. Bison. No, its hands are tied. Hands are tied, that he said. So I thank இதுக்கு எல்லாமே மார்க்சனன் காரணம். அதுக்கு முக்கியமான காரணம், இன்னொரு காரணம் வந்து தூயவர்மன் சார். ப்ளீஸ் புட் யுவர் ஹேண்ட்ஸ் டுகெதர் ஃபார் டிசைனிங். Both Marxanen and Thoyerman are the spirit and flesh of any conference being organized in the Department of English, and also the invitation, the speakers. I wanted to tell you, he is very choosy in whom to be staged, whom to be invited. Like Prabharan probably would have been. Some of the participants would have raised, why always Prabharan, why always Armstrong, why always Marx, something like that. No, I would rather say that these 3 people are the triumvirs of literature in the state and in the country. Marx and Elena, Prabharan and Elena, Arms and Elena, literature Tamilnadu illangra alavukku, and they are triumvirs. We are surviving, it is all because of these 3 triumvirs. And I tell you here, Dr. Prabharan, he is calmly sitting here. In the 75 or 76 years of independence, he is the only person who received a grant of 1 crore for tribal literature, and only one person from humanities received 1 crore, and simply he is sitting here. Such a think tank. Now he has been invited. And then Kalki madam, please visit, please browse the YouTube, and person who addressed the students of Harvard University. Ordinary, he's not ordinary people. Then not ordinary people. And then Satyaraj, here, even for half an hour, YOC, it is very difficult to catch him. Okay, to have his appointment. And he is here to witness the conference for 2 days. Now, happy to see you, Dr. Professor Sathiraj, and then Professor Bhubadi, my close friend. So there are many things that I want to tell you, wanted to share it with you, but there is a signal from Marx, and then close it. And I tell you, it's all emotion. I told you that it's not from mine. ஒரு நடராஜன் சார் இன்வைட் ஒரு மதுரை கூப்பிட்டுருந்தோம். He came to college to address one of the conferences. இன்னுமே மதுரை பக்கமே நீ கூப்பிட்றாதப்பா, வரமாட்டேன், அவன் மோசமானவங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறார். It is an emotion. It's an emotion that comes from us. So what I tell you is, you said he is a trademark. I look at him as the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu said, நாங்கள் உங்களை தலைகுனிய விட மாட்டோம் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. ஸோ யுவர் பர்சன் will you make us to hold our heads high, walk steadfast. And then I look at you as the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, articulated, I look at you as Viksit Bharat of 2047. What is Viksit Bharat? Viksit Bharat na enna? You include all sort of people, irrespective of caste, irrespective of religion, irrespective of class, irrespective of what social, irrespective of genders, in that sense, I look at you as Viksit Bharat. And last I tell you that, you said, since it is an influence of Bison, last week when we had a sports day, we invited Bison, the real Bison, to our college, and he addressed our students and trademark sonanga ellam sonanga. We tell you from the south, you are the Kala Madan of you are the guardian. Kala Madanna, the guardian, guardian of literature, guardian of all the people. And I wish you that, and also is that you are the trend setter. And you are the trend setter, you are the bench maker. It is you only can break your own benchmarks, because every year, you keep raising the bar. And as Professor Narajan sir said, nobody can break the benchmark that you set. So we wish you, on behalf of all the entire team, wish you that you have to make indelible marks in the future to come. Thank you so much, Anand.
Thank you, sir, for your warm felicitation. The inaugural address is a moment we officially cross the threshold into our scholarly mission. To perform this prestigious honor, we are privileged to have a visionary who has steered the very course of this university's excellence. I invite Professor K. Tarnikarasu, Director of Studies, Education Innovations and Rural Reconstruction, Pondicherry University.
Respected Dean, School of Humanities, Professor G. Vasanti, Head of the Department of English, Professor Binu Zarkaria, and former Director of Culture and Cultural Relations, Professor Clementes Lourdes, and the keynote speaker, Professor S. Prabhakar, and the invited lecture speaker who is going to speak after this inauguration, Professor Gorhari Behra, and the organizing secretary of this seminar, Professor T. Marx, and Professor Dr. A. Ramasubaya, Principal, Mannar Thirumalai Nayakar College, and faculties of Department of English, including Professor Harpreet Kaur Vora, who is going to give vote of thanks, and all the faculty members from other department, HODs, deans from other department, and the delegates from other parts of the country as well as other parts of the world. My dear students, good morning everyone. It is indeed it's going to be a very long inaugural session, because in other field, inauguration and the discussion on the subject is totally distinct. Whereas in humanities, it starts with inauguration. We start discussing about the topics, and that's why the inauguration always will be lengthy. Because I am, as the introductory, when she introduced me, I am not from the humanities background. I am basically a chemistry professor. So my perspective on humanities is a little bit different. I don't know whether you agree with me or not. But when I see the subjects, basically the natural science gives about the materials, what are materials, what is the facts about the materials, how the materials evolved. From there, how the humanities and then the social science, all those things evolve. This is what we understand. So, when we take the research on these fields, so what for these sciences, what for these humanities, what for the social sciences? That is the basic question I would address to the students, because our country, the 65% of population is less than 35 years of age, and the 50% is less than 25 years age. That means the youngest population is abundantly in India. So all these fields, what we are doing research, it is critically very important for the world. And when we take the material science, when we do the research on this, for example, in chemistry, earlier in that is early stages of 19th century, 1805, 1804, like this, there was a discussion on materials. What is this materials about? Whether any difference between materials present in the living body or materials present in non-living body. That was the discussion on this. So, when they were discussing on this, they found out that there is a difference between material present in the living beings and materials present in the non-living beings. So, whatever materials present in the body, so that is also source of our discussion today. So, these materials they named it as organic materials. So, still we call it as organic agriculture. Whereas the other thing is non-material, they call it as inorganic. So, this one they started only in the early 19th century. And when they started this organic, so initially the science started for synthesizing organic compounds, and based on this you want to give the new life to the world. That is whenever you synthesize new compound, new material, we are giving life to the humans or in the world. That is the idea of research. So of course non-living you can always synthesize to give the life also. But unfortunately, once they started synthesizing, initially there was a discussion also whether we can synthesize a material which we can artificially synthesize a human being. That is the idea. If you synthesize a material and you can give the life to them so that you can synthesize a human. But it was proposed, no, we cannot synthesize the naturally occurring material. So we need a vital force. Indirectly they mean it is, we need a God's force to synthesize a material. That was the proposed theory. You can Google it also, vital force theory. But later on, they proved it is wrong. Because naturally occurring compound, the first compound they synthesize, organic compound is synthesized, urea. So they proved that we don't need vital force, and we can synthesize in lab also. So that is the achievement by the research, where we can synthesize organic compound, but unfortunately still we are not able to make a human being by synthesizing the compound. That is the challenge. You can understand how difficult a human being is to synthesize a human being. So that's why the natural science is still research is going on, and if we take, unfortunately, But now, while understanding this, but people are synthesizing a compound which is not in the organic matter also. They started synthesizing the synthetic compounds, but synthetic compound is very famous nowadays. It went into different material where it is used for good as well as bad purposes. So this is the research on the science, whether what is the material existing in physics, all those things. But similarly, when you come to humanities, what for these humanities? I would like to ask the students, why we have to study the humanities? But the materials, but for the human being, as he is a living being, the real life for this material is given by the humanities. You are the people, you give life for this. But why we have to do research on this? Because if something somewhere is wrong, you are the people to bring the normalcy into this. You have to quote this, you have to mention this is wrong. You have to bring this to the life to this. Then what for we are here? What is the objective of this humanities research is how to be a human being, normal human being, how to lead a life, a affectionate life, a loving life, a peaceful life. That is the origin of I feel, I don't know, I am not the expert in this. This is the humanities research where we are always in pinpoint this, and that is the topic of this. So the politics of flesh and spirit. Why this politics of flesh and spirit? So whatever the politics is going on here, how to get rid of this, and then how to bring the peace into the social life, into our day-to-day life. That is the objective of this conference. So I hope, as a science person, I hope I understand this humanities research. And suppose if we don't do, because I am telling you the young researchers. So your research should be on the topics where ultimately it should bring the peace. Your idea should bring the peace. When you are not new compound with synthesis in the chemistry or any material science, it should bring the peace to the humanities. Same thing for the humanities research also. Your research should bring the peace, the harmony, and then the love among the people. So that is if you don't bring the peace into this society, then of no use. So whenever I always say this, when there is if you go to the place where there is more theft, that means that the police station there, whoever the head of the person is not good. That means he doesn't know how to control this place. Similarly, that same place, there are more disease, that means that PMC, public that health center is not good, is not taking care of this. Same thing, if a country or the world is not in peace, who are responsible? So you are responsible. The humanities people are responsible. You have to bring peace to of course, social science is there to disturb you, but still, your words, your books, your literature outcomes, everything should bring the peace to this humanity. So now, world population is increasing, and every day, and India is the most populous country. So you should know the responsibility, especially the youngsters. You should know your one paper should change the world. That is the power of this research in humanities. So you have a very strong, very high responsibility for doing research in humanities. So in this, so if I don't know whether time is there, can I take 2 minutes, sir? Just 2 minutes, I will finish it. So in this, there are many work I gone through this. I will not take more time. Just I will quote this. And in the book Beloved by Toni Morrison, he explores how the trauma inscribed on the enslaved black body continues to haunt the spirit across the generations. And the aim how to get rid of the trauma. The main aim of this book is the Beloved. You can check this by Toni Morrison. He explores how the trauma during this enslaved black body. So it is not the reason how much trauma was there for the black people. So when we understand this, how much trauma was there, same thing in our community also, wherever you are there. So how much trauma was there for the enslaved, because during colonial time, we were ruled by British people. How much trauma was there for us? How much we carry now? The slavery nature is, how much slavery nature is there? That we have to find out. I don't see much book on this, how our slavery is still in our blood. So that is why our Honorable Prime Minister mentioned that's the punch prawn by a resolve to develop India, removing any trace of colonial mindset and taking pride in our legacy. Our strength is unity, fulfilling the duties of citizens with honesty. This is a punch prawn. You can see the second prawn, removing any trace of colonial mindset. This is your duty to find out what are the colonial mindset we have, what are the traces of the slavery mindset we have, and how to get rid of this. Otherwise, we cannot think of the Vikshit Bharat 2047. So you have a lot of responsibilities. I have many quotes, but I don't want to take much time. Already it is 11:20. So the crux of the talk is, so you have big responsibility, and this conference is talking about the politics of flesh and spirit. Is you have to take this opportunity, especially student, to understand what are the objective of this conference. So there are many experts are there. So whenever they give the talk, don't take it as such. So you have to understand, and if you have any doubts, this is the opportunity to interact with them and put your doubts and get the best out of this. As Professor Dr. Ramasubbiah mentioned, this is a great occasion to get many people, and Professor T. Marx has made a wonderful occasion for others. So, it is we can give good round of applause for him. He deserves this. So I request again the students to take this opportunity to interact with the 2-day event. So I once again thank Professor Marx as well as Professor Binu and all the faculty members behind this for organizing this 2-day international seminar, wonderful 2-day international seminar. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir, for your profound insights and words of encouragement. Now, it is my distinct honor to welcome Dr. Prabhakar S., Dean at Manonmaniyam Sundaranar University, to deliver the keynote address.
Dignitaries on and off the dais, fellow resource persons, friends, research scholars, good morning to one and all. So I have been instructed by the coordinator to go direct into the topic. Dear friends, a key has two functions. It has to unlock the door and it has to close the session too. And so is the case with the keynote speaker. He has to set the tone for the conference and at the same time he has to close the inaugural session. Dear Dr. Marx, see, for the last 2 years that I have been obsessed with my ICSSR project, and I am far away from literature, and I am far away from this kind of conferences and academics in literature. And I have been doing research on performing arts. And when Dr. Marx was appointed as Dean of Performing Arts in Pondicherry University, I thought that I would have been invited. I would be invited definitely for that particular department to have a session on performing arts. He did not invite me yet. Still, I had a call from Dr. Marx to give a keynote address on the two-day international seminar on literature as narrative, the politics of flesh and spirit. Last month, myself and Dr. Marx, we shared a similar conference. And as usual, that I was busy with this is March 31st. I allowed to submit my project. And this is, as Dr. Mannar Subbu has said, a very enormous, very huge amount, and therefore there is a lot of pressure on me, and every second, every minute, and every day that I think of submitting the project and getting out of that project at the earliest. So last month, myself and Dr. Marx, we were there in a conference, and as usual, I allowed to unlock the door open and close the inaugural session. I was the keynote speaker. And just before the conference, before the inaugural session, I was asking the coordinator what is the topic of the conference. And Dr. Marx was laughing. And so, 2 weeks back, when he prepared this brochure, he asked me, Anna, you give me the title, you give me a write-up so that I can print it on the abstract so that you will also be ready for the conference. And this conference, this topic is so close to me, and I worked on this topic, some 35 years ago, on similar theme on Graham Greene's. Dr. Clement was talking about the text of St. Augustine and all. And the best example for this, the literature as narrative, the politics of flesh and spirit, I would say it is Graham Greene. Right? Graham Greene's The Power and the Glory, The Heart of the Matters, The Brighton Rock, and all the other novels written by Graham Greene, they talked about the carnal desire, the corporal reality, and of course, the spirituality. But one word is missing, the politics. And therefore, I asked Dr. Marx. I know Dr. Marx in and out, and so I'm very much sure that Dr. Marx on the second part of the title would never mean the spirituality or the spiritual aspects. Therefore, I asked Dr. Marx, should I become St. Thomas Aquinas or St. Augustine to talk about the flesh and the spirit of the religious politics or the social politics? And he said, Anna, you delve on social politics. Though it sounds something spiritual, right? You speak on the social politics, therefore, I have given the title, The Broken Body and the Spiritual Homing Way. Cohen's, the title of the one-act play, Anne Frank and Emmett Till. So I would like to speak on the politics of the flesh and spirit with a case study by Janet Langett's Cohen's, the former media person and wife of the Defense Secretary of the United States of America, Janet Langett Cohen's Annie and Emmett. So I have given the title some 2 weeks ago, but within this couple of weeks, we are now living in the period, or we can say in the time of Operation Roaring Lion and Operation of Epic Fury and Operation of a True Promise. I am referring to the Iran war. I thought that the Jew and the American could rather collaborate together to brave new world and to bring a new world full of peace and empathy. But these two collaborated to have Operation Roaring Lion and Operation Epic Fury in the in the Middle East. So I still have my own conflict whether to speak on the Holocaust victim Anne Frank and also the victim, the lynching victim Emmett Till. But this is a wonderful text, a small play by Janet Langett Hohen, and say in a place called Memory. In an imaginary place called Memory, the victims of the Holocaust, Anne Frank, who died in the year 1945, and also the victim of lynching, the Ku Klux Klan, and the victim of the African American victim, the little boy Emmett Till, right? Emmett Till, who was killed at the age of 15 in the year 1955. And this is a wonderful play by Cohen. If these two victims meet, what will they speak? Right? The victim of Holocaust, Anne Frank, and the victim of lynching, Emmett Till. The year 1945 and in the 1955, these two were the victims of this bigotry. Right? We call it the bigotry. And we know this bigotry all are rather manifestations of our social construct. And I would say the body, as long as it remains natural, there is no problem. But when it becomes a phenomena of social construct, there arises issues. And a Jew, right, we don't call it a body, but of course Emmett Till. Emmett Till, a 15-year-old boy from Chicago, he wanted to visit his uncle in the delta of Mississippi in the year 1955. And her mother, Mammy, warned him. In fact, she always wanted the uncles must visit Emmett Till in Chicago, not the boy should not travel down south because there is lynching, there is slavery, and there are a lot of discriminations and segregation in the United States in the southern part. And therefore, mother, Mammy Till, she never wanted to send her son Emmett Till. She was not at all interested to send his son Emmett Till to down south to meet the uncles at Mississippi Delta. But Emmett Till, he went there to meet, and on one day, Emmett Till visited a grocery shop. Perhaps many of you might have, at least if you have not read anything about Emmett Till or civil rights movement, the body politics and the consciousness rising of the African Americans, at least you see the film Emmett Till, which is available in the OTT. Okay. And Emmett Till, on one day that he visited a grocery shop, Bryant, right? It was by Bryant, a grocery shop which was run by a white lady, and there was a popular novel and again a play and many. And Emmett Till, he remained a literary imaginations in the minds of the African Americans. And Emmett Till, he was rather alleged to have wolf whistled at a white lady. Whistling, right, you should not look, a black should not look at. I leave rest of the theme of the conference to the other speakers to speak. I'm going direct to the point, direct to the topic. And the black should not even look at the white's eyes. And it was forbidden. And at that time, the little boy, Emmett Till, he went to the shop and he looked at the white lady, and it was alleged that he whistled at the white lady, Bryant. And immediately it was reported to her husband, Bob Bryant. And Bob Bryant, along with his cousin, they kidnapped Emmett Till and lynched. It was not murdered, it was lynching. Lynching, it is a mob killing, just because he is a black and he looked at a white woman and he whistled at the white women. He was killed and his body was buried in the Mississippi River. And after a few days, the body was rather restored, and the body, it was rather tied with a metal fan, 70 kilogram metal fan, and the body was decomposed. After 3 days, the body was recovered from the water, and Emmett Till, the mother of, Mammy Till, the mother of Emmett Till, she wanted to have the open casket funeral for Emmett Till, because he wanted to tell the world what you have done to my son, what you have done to this black. And therefore she wanted to have an open casket funeral in Chicago. The entire white government, the white governor, they refused to give the body to Mammy Till to have the open casket. Still, Mammy, she managed an open casket after 3 days, and the body was totally, right, and you can very well check, right, you can very well check in your mobile, right, the body of Emmett Till and the open casket funeral of Emmett Till in the year 1955, and you can find out what has happened to a little boy, Emmett Till. And there was an open casket funeral, and in the open casket funeral, some 10,000 people at the time, they attended, and most of them, they fainted at the church, right, looking at the decomposed, disfigured body of this Emmett Till. That is where the conference lies, the broken body and the homing way, the spiritual homing way of Emmett Till and Anne Frank. The decomposed body that rather gives a message, a powerful message to the African Americans to start the civil rights movement. And if you read the civil rights movement in African American traditions and in the United States of America, the funeral of Emmett Till, the murder of Emmett Till, and the open casket funeral of Emmett Till, it plays a very significant role. And after 1955, it was Mammy Till, she rather spoke, she raised the consciousness of the African Americans to claim for a civil right and to ban these segregations and other forms of racial discriminations in the United States of America. Then what does literature do as a narrative? Literature as a narrative, right? Narrative that we can say that this is a foregrounding or a promotion of an ideology or an idea, right? And as Dr. Clement has, the President has rightly pointed out, it is the narrative shapes the world and the world shapes the narrative. Similarly, this narrative of Emmett Till has raised the consciousness of, I would call, raising consciousness is the spirit that the literature aims at. Right? What is the meaning of the word spirit here? Right? We know what is the corporeal, what is body, and what is the spirit? The spirit is the energy that makes the body and that makes the body reverberating and rejuvenating, vibrating all the time. And the body of Emmett Till, it raises the consciousness of the Americans to fight for their civil rights. And therefore, literature, it remains as a narrative. Right? A narrative, and it has a politics to play. Similar is the case with Anne Frank, the victim of Holocaust. Right, in the year 1941 that she wrote her last note. And 1944, 1944, and 3 years she spent in these concentration camps. And after that, She was believed to have died in February 1945. And after 3 years, after the Second World War, right, the First World War, right, and say the anti-Semites, the Germans, and those who believe in this Aryan supremacy theory, they always say all our misfortunes are the fault of the Jews. Right? All our misfortunes in the world are the fault of the Jews. So this is rather a spiritual discrimination, a religious discrimination, and again a racial discrimination. And after the Second World War, say it was Anne Frank's father, Otto Frank. He returned from the concentration camp in the Germany, and he escaped the final solution and also the gas, right? The gas thing, and he escaped. I mean, after the Second World War, when the Second World War came to end, Otto Frank, he was released, and he thought that two of his daughters and also his wife would be alive. And you know the story of Anne Frank, because I'm going direct to the theme of the conference, because we are running short of time. Your lunch is ready, but your tea is not yet served. So I'm going direct to the point. And after when Otto returned from the concentration camp, and the lady who assisted Otto Frank and his family to hide in the annex in Amsterdam. Right, I just skipped the story of Germany, skipped the story of Poland, skipped the story of Netherlands, because I'm running short of time. And Anne Frank, she stayed, right, and say Otto Frank was a successful Jewish businessman. And when they were about to be arrested, they went into hideout and they stayed there for 2 years without ever coming out of the annex, the secret chambers. They were bodily segregated. They were bodily confined for 2 years. And where Anne Frank, a little girl, when she was given a diary as a gift in the age of 13, she started writing her diary, making all the references to the happenings of the Holocaust, and what is happening in Amsterdam, what is happening in Germany, and what is happening in other parts of Europe where the Nazis extremists rather encroached. And she was making all the references. And Otto, after 3 years, and it was me guess, and the lady who helped Otto Frank's family to survive the 2 years of ordeal, she gave back the diary written by Anne Frank to Otto Frank. And when Otto was reading the diary of Annie, he found that this is a girl who was very special to me, and she should have become a writer, a successful writer, and he thought that he should publish the Anne Frank's diary. And he published. So, my dear friends, the publication of Anne Frank and the translation of Anne Frank's autobiography or the diary into 70 languages, that changed as a narration against the Holocaust, as a narration against the Jewish anti-Semitism. It changed the entire world. They had the politics to play. But here I would like to refer 2 important points. The parents play a significant role. In the case of Anne Frank, it was Otto Frank, the father, who helped, who published her diary and raised the consciousness of the people of the world. And similarly, in the United States of America, after the death of Emmett Till, it was Mamie Till, the mother. She was prepared to have an open casket funeral, and therefore she raised the consciousness of the Americans and fought for civil rights. So both the victims of the Holocaust and the victim of the lynching, they meet in a place called memory, and they share their experiences. Do you know what do they share? 2 minutes. After that, it is your tea time. This is the body and the spirit that we are talking about. Emmett was telling, there were lots of places we could not be out after dark either. They had sundown rules for us too. Don't be caught in town after sundown, boy. And both are yelling, boy, you bear me. I said, do you hear me, boy? Do you hear me, boy? Then Annie was telling, you hear me, Kiki? These are all derogatory terms used to refer to the Jews and the blacks. You hear me, Kiki? Then Emmett say, Jigabu. Annie says, Hibi. Emmett says, Daki. Annie says, Himi. Emmett, spook. Annie, hook nose. Emmett, flat nose. Annie, dirty Jew. Emmett, coon. Annie, Christ killer. Emmett, nigger. Annie was asking, Nick? Then Emmett says, white folks came up with all those names, but that was the one that hurt the most. We used to be called Negroes. Another word for black. Guess that sounded a little too respectable, too civilized, but nigger. Well, it's like a thing, an animal monkey, which is pretty much how they thought of us. Nigger was the last name black people heard when they were being lynched. Before being lynched, before being killed, that was the last word that the white would utter. Right? Nigger. Right? You nigger. And Annie was telling, if I cannot say it, then you should not either. It is just the words have power. They create images and images that can hurt. The body images that can hurt. The social images that can hurt. The Nazis had all those names for us too. They made horrible, grotesque drawings of us, said we were subhuman, said we were devils, even had horns. It is a popular belief that the Jews are born with horns. And Emmett says, tail too. That you are born with horns, but we are born with horns and tail. Right? Tail too, he says, tail, they gave us horns and tails. So as I said, as long as body remains a natural phenomenon, there is no need for politics. When the body is politicized, when the body is, when the body has become or turns to be a social construct, we need powerful politics to play. And literature will always keep on playing this politics with all might and spirit. And we hope this conference will definitely set the ball rolling to speak the body politics, the politics of the spirit, and definitely by spirit, I understand. Right? I would say this is my narrative of the term spirit. I call spirit only the conscious rising, what we call CR. Right? So literature is a CR project, and you apply for ICSSR, you might get one. Okay, and there is the last sentence which we should not forget. To forget would be not only dangerous but offensive. To forget would be not only dangerous but offensive. To forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time. Hope we will not kill Annie Frank and Emmett Till for the second time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening speech. As we are about to conclude this formal inaugural session, let me invite Dr. Harpreet Kaur Vora, Professor from Department of English, Pondicherry University, to propose a vote of thanks.
Gratitude is the memory of the heart, said Jean Baptiste, and how true he was when he said that. because we are witnesses to how our lives overflow with goodness whenever we are thankful for whatever we have. On behalf of the Department of English, Pondicherry University, it is my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks as a befitting close of the inaugural session of the International Seminar on Literature as Narrative, the Politics of Flesh and Spirit. I would like to begin by thanking Professor P. Prakash Babu, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Pondicherry University and Chief Patron of the seminar, who has always been encouraging of the events conducted by our department. He symbolizes the spirit and the energy behind all endeavors of Pondicherry University. I would like to thank Professor K. Taranikarasu, Director, Directorate of Studies, Educational Innovations and Rural Reconstruction, Pondicherry University. Thank you, sir, for your presence, your help, and your constant support to our department. The person who I'm going to thank next has a long and enduring relationship with the Department of English, Professor Clement S. Lutz, former Director, Culture and Cultural Relations, and former Professor of the Department of English. Professor Clement has nurtured the department with his service, time, and affection, and we are thankful for his presence today. I also take this opportunity to thank the keynote speaker, Professor S. Prabhakar, Director, Center for International Affairs and Diaspora Studies, and Dean, Faculty of Indian and Other Languages, Manoenmaniam Sundarnad University, Tirunelveli, for setting the tone of the seminar with his engaging keynote address. We are sure, sir, that your address would have given the audience much food for thought. Thank you for your presence today. I would also like to thank Dr. A. Ramasubaya, Principal, Mannar Tirumalai Naikar College. Thank you, sir, for your address and for your presence today. We are honored. I would also like to thank Professor Gaurhari Behera from the Department of English and Modern European Languages, Deen Dayal Upadhyay, Gorakhpur University, Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh, who will deliver a lecture as an invited speaker later today. We are looking forward to that, sir, and thank you for your presence. I would also like to thank Dr. Bhupati P. from the Department of English Studies, Central University of Tamil Nadu. My thanks is also due to Professor Satyaraj Venkatesan, Professor of English, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, NIT, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. My thanks is also due to Professor N. Natarajan, former Professor and Head of the Department of English, Pondicherry University. We're thankful to all of you for your presence. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Professor G. Vasanthi, Dean, School of Humanities, Pondicherry University, who has been instrumental in helping us with her encouragement and all the paperwork and permissions which are so important for an event like this. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence and committed support to the department. I would also like to thank Professor Binu Zakaria, head of the department, who strives to bring new opportunities to the Department of English through innovative ideas and activities. This has helped the department gain prominence and eminence too. This seminar is one big step in this direction. Thank you, sir. I now take this opportunity to thank the man behind the moment of today, Professor T. Marks, former head of the department and current Dean of Performing Arts, Pondicherry University, and the organizing secretary of the seminar. Professor Marks has not only merely conceptualized the seminar, but has worked out every detail with his army of trusted lieutenants, our PhD scholars, and PG students. We are thankful to him that an event as large as this is being organized by a department, giving it visibility and prominence. And as a speaker earlier had said, Professor Marks has organized so many seminars, around 12 seminars in the department, perhaps is a feat which is very, very difficult to parallel. I would also like to thank our faculty members for contributing in every possible way to the growth and development of our department. I thank Professor K. Reshmi, Professor Lakimai Milli, Dr. Aishwarya S. Babu, Dr. S. Vishaka Devi for your constant encouragement and presence. I would also like to thank our guest faculty members who work tirelessly towards the progress of the department. I extend a thank you to Dr. P. Veerasamy, Dr. G.T. Naidu, Dr. Grace George, Dr. Chris Alice Ella Joseph, Dr. Geraldine, Dr. Harita V., Dr. R. Mahalakshmi, Dr. Arun Ramesh, and Dr. R.D. Anju Devdas. What would this seminar be without your presence? We're honored with all the presence of the delegates. I would also like to thank and appreciate the scholar coordinators of the seminar, Kadiravan Animalai, Sheriba Ruth, and Pronit Protim Gogoi. And finally, a big thank you to the PhD scholars and the postgraduate students of the Department of English, who are the fulcrums around which our department revolves. Once again, thank you to everyone, and we hope you have a wonderful experience at the two-day seminar organized by the Department of English, Pondicherry University. Thank you.